Hey guys, welcome to Demon Month on Rotting Flesh Movie Reviews. I'm your host, Billy Pop. Let's get the show on the road. Of course, the last episode was Demons, so I figured might as well do Demons too. It's a movie from 1986, a year later, of course, because they like to pump these fucking things out like... I can't snap my fingers. It's directed once again by Lamberto Bava, produced once again by Dario Argento. Argento's younger daughter, Asia, made her very first appearance in this film. It is also referred to as Demons 2, The Nightmare Returns. We open to a voiceover letting us know that the events that happened in the first movie were based in reality. It's Sally's birthday, but her BF didn't show up. Aww. She locks herself in her bedroom while her friends party. This time we get an apartment building full of people watching a movie on their TV basing its story on the real life story that happened in the movie theater. Jeez. How is this dog looking through the eye hole in the door? Wow! In this film within the film, a group of kids finds the dead body of a demon. The demon then resurrects and sees Sally through the television. It crawls through the TV and turns her into a demon. The effect when the demon is coming through the TV is simpler than most people think. I laughed at it, but nonetheless it worked. Sally's friends hatch a plot to get her to come out of her room. They have birthday cakes and everything. Sally leans in to blow out the birthday cake candles, which takes an uncomfortable amount of time, and all of her friends are too stupid to see that she's writhing in pain. And now we know why we're watching Demons 2. This bloody shit drips from Sally's head through the floor, and everything it touches gets possessed. Men, women, children, dogs, a bag of weed. The guy who played Tony the Pimp in the first movie, Bobby Rhodes, is back. I'm not sure why, but fuck it. If Evil Dead 2 makes sense, then this does too. And why do people insist on hitting the disconnect button on phones to try and reconnect with who they're speaking to in movies? I don't really get that.
Hello? Hello? Shit.
I mean, maybe if you talk to somebody who was born in 2007, you might not remember house phones. You know, maybe it doesn't make much sense to them. Maybe they don't know how to use it. There's also this little kid by himself in the building. And I always try to look at horror movies through a child's eyes, because that is by far the more frightening perspective. If I was a kid, this would be so fucking terrifying. There are two people trapped in an elevator, too. When they see a big swarm of possessed people, it's truly an epic sight. More epic than Lord of the Rings? More epic than Lord of the Rings. Less epic than Dead Alive. Honestly, it's a lot like the first movie, except it's in an apartment building. Picture being this little kid. Hey little buddy, how are your drawers? This movie has a lot of Argento influence. It feels very much like a nightmare. In fact, I had a dream once that reminds me of this movie. One thing about this flick that's a bit silly is we have this group of bodybuilders that are like pushing cars in front of doors and shit to keep the demons out. It's pretty stupid. At least Bobby Rhodes is the leader though. He pretty much is always good for a laugh. Does it make me sound sick that I think it's good when kids die in movies? It just seems more realistic to me that some kids might die if their apartment building was overrun with demons. Fuck yo kids! This movie is once again an all-out gore fest where most everyone dies. There's a huge brawl between the bodybuilders and demons, and it's pretty fucking ridiculous. Of course, once again they corner a kid in a totally horrific way. This movie doesn't seem to have any legit main protagonists, so I honestly don't know which characters I'm supposed to root for. Two relatively forgettable people named George and Hannah end up making it to the roof with a rope to climb their way to safety. Unfortunately, Sally is still alive and attacks them before they get down. But George stabs Sally with a bar, and I can't tell whether it's funny, scary, or neither. Looks like it hurts anyway. Then Hannah has a baby, and Sally comes back wasted out of her fucking face. Should we review it? I've got a sore neck. Demons 2 is a mixed bag, you guys. The directing on this film was really good for the most part. The lighting was good, and the suspense at times was good because the camera work was good. Comparing it to the first one, I'd say that it's a pretty faithful sequel. Now, the writing here is a little fucked up. The pacing in this movie goes from boring to intense and scary to comedic way too haphazardly. I think it could have been written better. The first one was no masterpiece writing-wise, but it was an original idea and it was just written better. The acting in this is all around pretty cheesy. There are a few noticeable actors though, my favorite being the young kid alone in the dark building. He does a really good job at being scared and eventually turning into a demon himself, being the demon that everyone remembers from this movie. The characters are all pretty boring compared to the original as well. I only really like two of them, the kid and the other being Hank the bodybuilder. And I think that had more to do with the fact that Hank was Tony in the first movie. Although I have no idea why they casted him twice, he was a familiar face and that always helps. The dialogue is very sparse when it's there and it is very campy. The effects. Well guys, I'd have to say once again the effects here are absolutely phenomenal. Although they reused some gags, which isn't a bad thing, they worked. They had a whole new set of gags too, which made this its own movie. However, without the direction and the gags, this movie would have been pretty fucking dull. The music at times was way better than the first movie too. There were a couple scores that I thought were just straight up haunting, especially with the imagery going on while they were playing. So good work on the soundtrack. I can recommend Demons 2. Although it was not my favorite, it was a worthy sequel. I believe the first one surpasses it, but I'm pretty sure most people probably think that way. The story just wasn't as interesting. The setting also was not as interesting. Movie theater, apartment building, I mean, there's no comparison. I will give this a 6 out of 10. A solid 6, though. It was well worth the watch. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you're enjoying Demon Month. I know I am! Name me a movie you'd like me to review for the last 4 episodes of Strictly Sick movie reviews. I'm leaving it up to you guys, but it only works if it's a movie I haven't watched before, so keep that in mind. And you guys have yourselves a great day. That Midget Production.